I joined Fingal in 1995 myself, and I was county architect, and within a short time I found myself delegated to deal with matters to do with Draiocht through the county manager at the time.
But I mean, I was saying earlier, David, that your involvement was not simply the conduit of funding. I mean, obviously funding is appreciated and necessary.
Yes.
But wearing your hat as the county architect at the time, you designed Draiocht.
I did, yes, I did.
And, the design stands up very well. It fits all the various activities, artistic endeavour very well.
Thank you very much. I much prefer that you said that than I did. The kind of philosophical approach to it was to give, as I said in my speech, a blank canvas, a place that could be shaped by the administrators. I often think as an architect about great Victorian buildings that had just simple big spaces, and we gave this building as a series of big spaces that they could be shaped and used, and that's actually what's happened with the two theatres, the big one in the studio, the big gallery, and then the rehearsal spaces.
And of course we were talking earlier to your colleague Rory, and Rory was very involved with the early ad hoc group in Alan Connolly's or Oliver Byrne's kitchen or whatever, and there was a ground root searching within Dublin 15 community for a centre.
Yes.
And that's what they got.
Absolutely, yeah. And the site itself that Draiocht sits on was donated by Green Property, but actually we bought the site beside it for the library, and we decided to develop the two together as one building, so that when you see it, it looks as one complex, as a kind of the civic part of the town centre.
But I mean, it's the combination of the support that Fingal gives by way of funding, and in additional support for the Children's International Arts Festival, Spraeke, which I think is an additional support.
It is, yes.
And the arts, but also then the 50,000 annual Dublin 15 people who go through the box office
very much contribution.
So.
I mean, I just think it's a remarkable tribute to Emer and her staff that, we set budgets, and as you know, we all have difficult times these times, and no less the county council. We've had to cut budgets. Everybody has to shape things to their means, but Emer has always consistently delivered within her budgets. We've been able to do things like, for example, when we did the recent redevelopment 2 years ago, we gave the loan as a loan to Draiocht, rather than to have Draiocht having paid bank interest rates. And consistently Emer arranges the accounts that she pays that back over a period. And when you have people like that to deal with, there's no problem with dealing with ongoing funding. I mean, people who behave so responsibly and are so businesslike and straightforward are a great credit to their own industry, I have to say.
But it must be as chairman at Draiocht, it must have been a proud day to have the president come here and talk so wonderfully about what it means to her and what she sees through Des Kenny's exhibition and the impact of his grandniece on his painting and the impact of the arts and children.
Very much so. I mean, I have occasions now and again to meet the president. Not very often, unfortunately, but now and again I do. And I don't introduce myself as the Fingal County Manager. I introduce myself as the chairman of Draiocht. And straight away her face lights up because she's so proud of Draiocht. I can tell you that she is. She just knows what goes on here, what happens. She's only down the road. She has an intimate understanding of the programme, and she can see when 450 people come in through the door, when the place is thronged to the ceiling with people. You don't have to say much more than that. It's a huge credit.
And Alan Connolly was telling me, David, that about the question everybody that who came up with the name Draiocht, and he was pointing the finger at Sharon O'Bacon, who was the principal in Coolmine Community School for many years, now retired.
That's correct. Yeah,
it's just a wonderful.
We brainstormed, as you're supposed to do with these things.
And it's really interesting because I have an awful habit of calling it Draiocht because my Irish, of course, is terrible. So I completely missed the point of the name. It means magic.
Exactly. Yes.
So I mean, it's it's only 10 years.
Yes, I know.
There's so much time to go. I mean, so many new developments. I mean, the youth theatre is developing,
Yes.
the film club. I mean, all the extended activities.
We have a couple of little secrets. If you look at the back wall of Draiocht as you face the county offices behind, there's you'll notice a big grey panel in the middle of it. Well, that's behind that is hidden a structure that will allow us to open a stage out onto the open space behind. We would love to be able to open that out as a public performance place, because that would mean we could hold much more people in that natural amphitheatre.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's amazing to think that you had the foresight to put that in the first place.
Well, not alone did we do that. You'll notice the shape of the county offices is in a curve.
Yes,
that's deliberate to actually contain the people in that group. So, as I said, we have lots of plans in our pockets, and we're only at the beginning. I think you could get 2,000 people out there at an outdoor evening concert in the summertime,
yes.
And 2,000 is a number that is actually not that well catered for in those kind of venues. You know, somebody who wants to do an acoustic concert, for example, or somebody who wants to do a live performance that it relies on the human voice rather than amplified voice.
I think that's something in the arts that in Dublin and Ireland in general is quite missing. Is we have tended in the last 10 years to get rid of the smaller venues in favour of huge venues that you have to have an awful lot of pull to sell out for it to be viable. So these smaller venues that are, I suppose, more practical and more usable have been disappearing.
Absolutely, and what we understand is that some of the better known artists actually would the ones who get huge fees for huge venues are really keen to take part in those kind of venues, small intimate venues, and will forego large fees just for the experience of being in a place like that.
Yeah, that's it. I flew over to London last week and I went to see a gig for somebody who played the O2 in Ireland but was playing for 200 people in London, and it's to have that intimate experience, because people who are passionate about music want to be up front. They don't want to be 90,000 seats back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And just switching back to the small venue, I love the studio here.
Yes.
The studio here for a small 4 or 5 part drama, wonderfully intimate.
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful immediacy with the audience and so on, contact.
Yes, and it's funny how it's evolved, because originally the actual shape of the studio, the stage part of it, is a literal duplication of the stage down here, so that people could rehearse for the stage by working in the studio. But we soon found that if we put in raked seating, we could get much more use out of that space. So that's what we did, and that's why it's turned out to a little successful venue in its own right. Absolutely, yes.
So, David, it's wonderful to talk to you. I mean, I suppose the message coming from today would be that the arts is not an extra.
Absolutely not.
It needs support.
Yes. We
appreciate that. We acknowledge what Fingal County Council and the Arts Council have done, and we acknowledge that. But it is not simply in bad times we can do away with it. In fact, in bad times people come to the arts.
Very much so.
And so on. So thanks very much, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.